This is the library we have here. It's just a bunch of books. It has genres: contemporary fiction, mystery adventure, Native American interest, and teen fiction. Each one has a color to it: green, blue, orange. Those are self-improvement books, biographical, and books about war and things like that. But I want to go over this, and those are just all our books, but those are more for free reading, and whatever you want to read, you can read them. But before you read any sort of books, or before you free read any sort of book, you have to read 2 fiction books and 2 nonfiction books. One of each while you're in each level. So while you're in level 3, you have to read 1 nonfiction book, and it's the only book that you have to read. And they give you a book that you have to read, and it's called Man's Search for Meaning. It's about a psychologist that went to a concentration camp during the Holocaust, and it shows how different people find different meaning through different things, and how a man can search for meaning, and how meaning affects a man's life. And that's what the boys read. The girls read Reviving Ophelia. I didn't read the book, so I'm not sure what it's about, but I've been told it's about how adolescent girls are affected by things around them in their life, and how they let things bother them or control them, and how they can overcome that. It's how they can be strong, and just same thing as Man's Search for Meaning, how you can find meaning in being strong, and how can you find meaning in doing what's right. So once you finish that nonfiction book report, you can read a fiction book while you're in level 3, and you do a book report on each book you do, and that's a requirement for level 3. So once you go on to level 4, you have to do those things. And then after your midterm, when you get your level 4 goals, you have to do it again, but you can pick the nonfiction book you read this time. I read Anne Frank's Diary, which is a book I've always wanted to read.
It's good?
Yeah, absolutely. It was very interesting. I just saw the opportunity to read the book while I was here, and, I did, and I enjoyed it, absolutely. I did a book report on that. I did a book report on 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which is another book that I've always wanted to read. That's a really good book. I like that book. And when you're done with that, once you're done with the L3 and the L4, you can free read, which means you can get any book in this library and read it. Which is nice, because they have some good books here, to be honest. They have Lord of the Rings, they have The Hobbit. Those are just fantasy. I like fantasy. Those are the first things I mentioned, but they have Les Miserables, they have Catch-22, Catcher in the Rye, Lord of the Flies, a lot of the classics. Lots of books about war. I like to read about war, so I read about, books on war and books on major battles that we've won, stuff like that. They have self-improvement books. One thing that my dad was telling me about is it's somewhere in here, but it's The Speed of Trust. There it is.
Really good book.
The Speed of Trust. That's a good book. There's just good self-improvement books where you can read them and you can improve yourself. So yeah, it's nice to have books like that right in front of you so you can read them,
That's for your free time, right?
For your free time, yeah.
So how does school work? You've got, so you get broken up into groups twice a day, and so sometimes that'll be school.
Yeah.
Tell them a little bit about how the school works.
All right. So school, so you get broken up into work groups, and sometimes you're not in a work group. You're in school that afternoon or that morning. There's also night school, which is Monday through Thursday, which is only 2 hours as opposed to 4, which is morning and afternoon. So, but school works, you have to get math usually with every kid, English for every kid that I've seen come here. And then other classes as far as what they were doing before they came here. I was doing biology before I came here. I was doing Algebra 1 before I came here, and World History. So those are the 3 classes that I had to do, and I had to do English as well, because that's just a class that everyone takes.
Yeah,
you know?
everybody takes it.
So, yeah.
So pretty small classroom. How many kids are usually in at a time?
Yeah, this is probably the smallest school you'll ever see.
One room schoolhouse.
Yeah, but this is where they teach English, and you just you learn about poem. I like poem writing. That's one of the things we did. You do a movie report. One of the things is you have to report on the movie Les Miserables. But you sit here and you learn about English. You have introductional writing, or instructional writing, persuasive writing, different writings you have to do. So here's the online classes that we do. You have a bunch of computers here. And you get on the computer, you do an online schooling called Momentum. And first you do a tutorial on the lesson. And you do that tutorial. This is kind of how the online schooling goes. You do that tutorial, and then you take the mastery test, which you have to get 4 out of 5. There are always 5 questions, and you have to get 4 questions right out of 5 to move on to the next lesson. And you have all the lessons done in that unit. You do the unit test, and the unit test has everything in the unit, and it's just a test on it. Usually about 20 questions, and then you do how many units are in that class. Sometimes, usually going from 2 units to 5 units. I've seen mine, biology was 3, and world history was 5, so yeah. A lot of work, but it's you bust it out, you stay focused, and you do well, and it's fun,
You learn. You actually learn some things.
Absolutely. You learn things just because, if chances are, if you're at this program, I've thought about it, if you're at this program, and like I was, you didn't really take school seriously. You didn't really learn anything because you didn't pay attention, or you just didn't take school seriously, and you come here, you actually take your time and do what you can do to finish school, and you start learning things, and learning's kind of fun. When you start at it. Yeah, I know, who knew?